Right now, we are in studio with singer and songwriter Bhek'zizwe. He's a storyteller with a soul, known for his rich vocals, heartfelt lyrics, and deeply rooted messages. Good morning.
Good morning, Bafethu Njani.
All right, does it?
Good.
Sharp. Well, that's that typical way. Singer, songwriter. How do you and how would you, I guess, describe your music?
So it's hard to describe my music because it's authentic. You know, it comes from an authentic space. I wasn't trying to mimic anybody. So I gather from what I gather from people. Some would say this is Madamba Damba, this is Tepotula, this is whoever, you know. So I recommend people listen to the music. However, lyrically, I can tell you, Oguti, I preach more than I entertain. So it's more on the moral fiber of communities, to try and get us to do better. Go back to the time where Ingane bekhuliswa i village. Yes.
So would you say that that's the root of it as a storyteller more than a musician?
Yeah, definitely. It's so somebody said you are preaching, you know, and I was like, no, well, I'm singing, you know, the rhythm and the soul is there. Lyrically, it bridges the gap between generations, you know. It's more stories that or Isialo from my parents down to the other generation. Yeah.
Where does this come from? I mean, what is at the root of your storytelling, of your writing, of your music? Where does this come from?
So I think generally I am a caring person, you know. I don't like seeing people get hurt, you know, although you have to be...
I don't know if we ask all your ex-girlfriends whether they will agree, but we move. Whether indeed you're a caring person.
Well, you know, sometimes you can hurt them unintentionally, you know, because just life will drive you apart, not that
I don't think
we are liars.
We won't ask them. We don't want to talk to them.
No, we don't want to talk to them.
But I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's a dope point.
Yeah. So you were still saying that in terms of your background and your storytelling, what drives that? Where does that come from?
Yeah, I think that comes from a deeply caring space. You know, we're in the country, well, in the whole continent, are dealing with a lot of poverty. You know, we're dealing with a lot of violence. You know, that sort of thing will eat you up, especially if you watch the news as regularly as I do. You know, you see those things and it's just prevalent everywhere, you know, and somebody has to address it. We can't all sing about all these things, you know, and the niceness and the what when there are serious issues on the table. Yeah.
So where does this whole music thing come from? How did it start for you?
I've always known that I had a music born in me, you know. I just didn't take it I just didn't take it seriously because I, at the time, had a decent job. I did sound, you know, and I was in spaces with big people. So I sort of think that put a dummy in my mouth, in my purpose mouth, to say, okay, no, you've got something going. What are you doing there? You know, until eventually I was like, you know what, all this music is gonna come out. You know, and it did. Yeah.
What was that process like of accepting, but not only accepting the gifts and taking it out to share it with the world?
Oh, that was tough. It was tough. I would say I was at the peak of my career, doing sound, and I had a small business doing sound for big corporates and stuff. And to try and pivot from that was tough. You know, you start. It's the same industry, but it's not the same industry. You know, the people you deal with the technical and the people you deal with the music, two completely different people. And also the hardest thing is giving your soul out to people, because doing music is literally giving your soul out to people, opening yourself up for judgment and stuff, you know, and that was tough. But here I am today. Yeah.
But what was it that I guess, lack of a better phrasing, pushed you to say, let's do this. I want to do this. What was there a specific moment in your life or an incident that somehow got you to say, I'm ready to share with the world?
It was frustration. So I think it was time. It was time to get into the music thing, you know, because I had been doing technical for about 17, 18 years. You know, and every time we meet problems, I mean, you problem find, the microphone doesn't work, you change a cable. But for me, it got deeper where I was getting sleepless nights whenever I'm going to have a gig. You know, why are you getting frustrated? Because if a microphone doesn't work, you change the microphone, you put in another one. It became so real that I realized that, you know what, this thing may not be working for me anymore. And I just had to pivot and I went into music. I was like, come on.
Where would you say your music influences come from? In terms of I guess your sound, as much as you did say that it's not necessarily sound that you can box to a certain extent.
Yes.
But where does that influence come from? I mean, as a youngster growing up, somehow, the music that you grow up to, that your parents play, your uncles play, shape the kind of sound.
So that's actually pretty funny. I grew up from, I don't know if there's such a thing as somebody who's going to say I raised myself, you know, but I was in a home, but because it was such a big family, at some point we were like 32 under the same roof. So I kid you not. So you had to find yourself in amongst that, you know, in a big family. So in that, it was a deeply Christian family, but I also had Rasta friends. So at home would be jazz or gospel, but in the street is reggae. You know, to a time where I think those elements
it's
sort
okay.
of
You don't have to say reggae. You can say we were eating the herb. We were meditating with the herb.
I don't know.
It's medication. It's meditation. Am I lying though?
Look.
We're not talking about
personally, from a personal experience, you know. So but Futi, I had a reason because I wear glasses now, you know. So why am I so above? No, I've got an eye problem. But no, it wasn't departure. I think it was the music element.
No. You see, when you talk about it, when you call it departure, you make it sound like something bad.
Yeah.
It's just a herb.
It's a plant
that happens to be very good for you mentally and otherwise. It's just
you're gonna get me arrested.
No. It's just a plant, guys. We preach the value of greenness and other things. Rastafari. Hanging out with Bhek'zizwe. We're going to find out more about his music. He's a singer-songwriter, as you've heard, and talking to us about his sound and also what his future projects are. He has done a lot of work, as said, behind the scenes. Talk to me about that. You spoke about the transition, if you can call it that, from working technically. Does that somehow make you listen differently to the sound because you know the ins and outs, the technological aspect of sound?
It actually,
or you're just a tough client to work with.
I was going to say, it sends you there. You know, it sends you there because you kind of know what to expect from a technical guy that you find at these various places. I've been lucky enough because the places that I go to, they supply sort of proper sound and proper technicians. You know, expectation that you generate. But there's also an awakening that happens, you know, when you know that a microphone works with a voice. You know that intrinsically that microphone needs a voice to work. But now you're behind the microphone taking instructions. So, but like I said, it's two different industries. You know, when you're on stage, you're not worried. Of course, you'll worry about the sound, but there's like a crowd also that's looking directly up at you. So it's also what you say into this microphone that sort of comes into the forum. Yeah.
What music do you listen to on your own.
On my own.
When you are just being yourself, driving to Kronstadt or Kokstad or whatever start that people drive to.
Yeah, I've got a vast sort of music taste. I can safely say it's dominated by reggae, reggae and jazz. Yeah, yeah.
And how much does that come through your music, if in any way? Does that come through?
It definitely comes out. You know, in my writing, and it definitely comes out. The reggae comes out. So so the bands find it weird to play my music because of the time signatures, because the two elements show up in one song. So at one time we'll be skanking, and then the track changes into a 6/8. I don't know what that means for the audience, but I mean, if we have a song, you'll play it, and then the band just struggles to keep up, and eventually they keep up. But I guess it's that fusion of the two genres. Yeah.
Right. We are hanging out with Bhek'zizwe, who's a singer and songwriter. We're going to continue the conversation with him just after 5:30. And again, let me apologize that we were not able to do the battle today because we do not have access to Twitter for today. We apologize for that. It will be fixed, and we thought maybe we can just play the songs, but I guess it will take away from how we do this. So those who were supposed to play the battle today, we do apologize for that, but the show must go on nonetheless. It's just gone 5:30. Let's get the latest news headlines. Yes, no problem.
I'm on channel 889.
But there's a
Bhek'zizwe, who's hanging out with us this morning. Let's take us back to that song, Bhek'zizwe.
Yeah. What aspect of it? It's such a loaded sort of song, you know, where I was emotionally, where I was musically and career-wise is three different things, you know. So what aspect of that song?
In terms of just for you writing that song, what space were you in, and what message were you sharing with us as potential audience?
So, like I said, you know, I'm a deeply caring sort of individual. You know, I must have been watching something, because I always say these songs to me are downloads. You know, it almost happens automatically. So it's a mood coupled with rehearsal space or just jamming alone that sort of generates these songs. And I think I was in a certain mood where I was thinking, what is happening in our country, you know, especially, I don't want to get political because I'm not a politician, you know, I just comment on these things. I think it was at the time of the GNU or whereabouts where that song sort of came out.
But do you deliberately go out of your way to, especially with commentary, be it social, political, or otherwise, to say music does play a role, and if I could lend my voice in one way or the other, because listening to that song, you get those nuances of sending out messages directly or subliminally to the people, to the nation, you know, talking about Lumhlaba, you know, which is a big issue politically and otherwise.
Yes. So no, it doesn't come from a spiteful sort of place. It comes from a, like, again, from a caring space to say, I see it. No, I'm serious. Pity we've chosen a different song, but I promise you, it doesn't come from a spiteful place. You know, you're forcing me to take sides. I'm not taking sides.
No,
I'm on the side of the people where, like I say again, poverty, violence, and all these things are happening. And I honestly feel that there are things that we could do. You know, there were times where things were looking up.
Because music has always played a role, Bhek'zizwe, in the narrative. You know, how the Masekelas and the Makebas, the Jonas Gwangwas,
our heroes,
have always had that, even though times are different. That the messages are always there, are very different. You speak to Slilo Selota, who would say that in my music I'm trying to safeguard African culture, you know,
Okay.
Sepedi culture, you know, when he sings.
Oh, that's big.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
people will do different things in terms of their music, right? Directly, as I said, or subliminally. You listen to Dr. Sinogalan, his music will
Yes.
also have. So there's different aspects of it. I mean, you can even talk about piano if you want. There is a certain narrative and message,
Yes, that's
directly or
been given.
indirectly,
Yeah.
that they
Oh, for sure.
and that's why I'm saying that, and tying this to your new project. What can we get? What can we expect from your new project?
So yes, so at one stage, I do think you're correct. There's a sort of a message that's being
I'm
said.
always correct.
Okay, sure. I bow down. There's a certain message that I'm sending out. You know, I think, hence the powers that be in the political arena, I think they sort of fear an honest engagement with the arts because of such things, especially if you look at imbongi poetry. You know,
Sure.
I'm not going into that. I'm going to speak about my second offering. The message has got sterner. I've become more confident. I've found my voice. The music has gotten bigger. We've added elements that weren't in the first album. We've added horn sections, percussions, and all of that stuff, you know. But yeah, of course, the message has gotten a little bit sterner. But this one is directed at the individual. There are songs that are speaking to individuals, to say it doesn't help you sitting at the corner saying "Yafana," you know, because once you get into that "Yafana" mentality, chai.
It's a defeatist mentality,
Yes.
and then that with the challenges, and again speaking to sending music subliminally or otherwise, I mean messages via music. Sometimes it's exactly that, where people are going through a lot, and for instance, gospel music, you know, which is quite universal in that. People will always say that when I listen to this song, it does this, and then I was listening to this song at this time when this thing was happening, and it took me to this place or the other. But also, you find that somebody listens to your song, and it touches them in a different way.
I would hope that happens. There's a song in the first album that we sent out. It's actually it's very gospely.
Yeah.
We got somebody who told us that that song was healing to her. I think a week before she passed on. Yeah.
See?
You know, so yeah.
So that's exactly what I'm saying, because you never really know. Because again, and I'm sure you'll agree with me on this one. Well, I'm never wrong. That music is very spiritual.
It is.
It's very spiritual. Sometimes it's not even you that is writing the song. It's some sort of higher power that comes to you and says, here's a message. See, I'm right, okay? Always right. Told you. So the new album, is it out?
It's ready. We're doing a listening session in June on the 19th.
Okay.
And then we release officially on the 29th of July. It is ready. I'm going to give you a glimpse of one of the songs, if you guys have it ready, and then you'll experiment the difference in the sort of two sounds with the one track you've played and this one coming up next.
Twitter, are we good? Sound, more sound. Is it low?
Play the right one.
You should know. Yeah, for real.
Well, that's my highest.
Is it?
Mama.
No, it's just a bit low, but it's fine. It will come out.
Yeah.
Is it coming out okay?
So I can't tell. In the booth, inside, it's quiet. Outside, I can't tell.
Okay, Ispanga uyascan. Ispanga uyascan.
King's Punk.
Ispanga is women with this.
Oh, it's a fun.
Fun,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eh?
Oh,
so my winter is here.
Yeah, today conversation is serious, Benjamin. I'm gonna go to Queen Land of Blend our leg at Hal now. Shire straight. Yeah, but is so good. Shaleman no need it. What's up, people? Benjamin no good. What is by shooter?
Because I saw there were 3 that were up. So I'm trying to fade out one because I didn't know which is which. Okay. And then nothing happened. I faded out. I even faded out this one. Yeah.
I'm not sure. We second him beat all the way up. And then go. Go.
Mara cheki nakajaba page.
So,
Yes.
somebody said it sounds almost suit.
Yeah, but no, not one, but our sounds are very
Similar, ne?
Yeah, in terms of keyboarding.
Yeah. That reading.
You know, and then all right, that's music of Bhek'zizwe, who's with us in studio. Tell me about the song. Don't ask me which aspect.
This song is this song. No, I'm on clarity. What are we talking about?
About the song. What else?
So this song.
Just by the way, before you respond, first time heard on any radio station in the world.
Yes.
On Power Up.
Yeah. Whoa. I'm honored.
Sure.
It's a wedding song.
Mm.
Ipanga, I hope people know what Ipanga is, but someone in studio today just said
Yeah,
so I think it's a wedding song, you know. It talks about the way I love this woman. And just looking at her come is so satisfying. Lengane ngizoyijova. I don't know if I can say that on air, but
Well,
you
just
get
did.
the drift.
Is this based on a true story? You've answered me. We got the answer. We totally got the answer.
No, it's not a true
I
story.
know. We got the first part.
It's a fictional.
Oh,
sort of
please.
thing.
Look at him blushing. Imagine those pangas.
Hey, my God, yeah.
Plus you wind.
It's African woman, this,
Of course. Yeah. You were still saying? Yeah.
Yeah, no. I think we've sort of summarized it. It's a wedding song. People can use it, especially from a male perspective. That's where sort of the energy of the song is directed. To say you can celebrate your woman. She's an African, like I said.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said the album is not out as yet.
No.
What's the plan?
So we're doing a listening session.
Yeah.
I hope you can pull through.
Okay.
We'll do the necessary things after this.
Sure, no stress.
And then we listening session 19 June, official drop on the 29th of July. Yeah.
And
looking forward to
and I mean, just tell me a little bit more about the album. How different are the sounds from what we've just heard in terms of diversity, in terms of,
Yeah. So I think the music elements have sort of grown. The playing from Amachita, the band, has also grown as well. Like I said, the message has gotten sterner on the second one. The difficult part is choosing which songs to release and which songs to keep. We're sitting now with 6 songs already coming in the third album. It's one of those things. But I'm very confident about this one. I've got a very strong team in the background. I gave it all. I gave my heart and guts and blood on this. I gave it all.
And allow the universe to do the rest.
To do the thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have a bit of fun in the last 2 minutes of the show.
Okay.
Well, now you're too woke, but so the whole point
Sorry,
is.
I apologize.
No,
I can't help it.
it's fine.
Me.
The whole point for this, I'm gonna ask you like about 10 questions. So
All right.
don't think deep. Don't try and be woke. Just answer.
Just answer.
Just answer
From
me.
the top of my head.
What's your go-to karaoke song? You're thinking.
It would be something reggae.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be something reggae.
Oh,
Something.
pirates, yes, they're all mine.
No,
Deeper?
It'd be deeper like that. It would be
Good.
Smile Jamaica.
Okay.
it
All right.
would be
Beautiful
something
song.
deeper
Beautiful.
like that.
What
Yeah.
music affects your mood?
In a positive way.
Either way.
Jazz and reggae.
Okay. What's the best concert you've ever been to?
I wish you'd have said it differently, but
Uh-uh.
but I'll tell you, there's a no. I come from a concept space, so there's a lot.
But I've asked you a question.
I'll give
I
you
said
one.
don't think.
Okay,
Just tell me
let
what's
me
the
give
best
you one.
concert you've
The
ever
one-
been to, Bhek'zizwe?
The one that culminated into this thing.
Okay.
I was lucky enough as a young boy. I saw Chico and the Gypsies perform live at Carnival City.
Let's move. Who would you drain your entire savings to see live? Like who would you say, Barry? Bob Marley's alive and he's performing one show only, or somebody. Who would you spend your last dollar to go see perform live?
Okay, I want to say alive or dead, but
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Lucky Dube.
Okay, I can see that. Have you ever read a book that changed your life?
Oh yes, definitely.
What book is that?
You Are Badass
Okay.
by Jan Sincero.
Okay, I don't know the book. I should check it out.
Yeah, I
Are you
know.
into any podcast? It's a yes. It's a yes or no question.
No.
Yeah.
No. We live in the digital age, you scroll on the socials and there's a podcast, and they talk about a lot of interesting stuff, but it's not my thing. I wouldn't go and sit and say I'm watching a podcast. No.
If you are an animal,
Yeah.
what animal would you be?
Tiger.
Okay, Gwede Mantashe.
Are we going to talk about his son? Okay.
Bhek'zizwe, thank you so much for popping in to spend time with us this morning. It's really been a pleasure. Thank you for the music, beautiful music.
Thank you.
May you grow from strength to strength as a musician. You make beautiful sounds, and I'm hoping that the world can embrace and understand. Kimang wa alam ya 6 o'clock.
No, it's not me.
Somebody's alarm at 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
it shows.
almost ruined the perfect moment.
Very
there.
quickly, for people that want to find out more about your sound, about your music, about you, where do they find you on the socials and otherwise?
Guys, I'm Bhek'zizwe everywhere. BHEK_ZIZWE everywhere. We're just not on X yet. But
Okay.
we're everywhere you can find us. We want you to come, please follow the movement. We
Okay.
love you.
The listening session, it's exclusive, ne?
It is exclusive.
Hari Brasoli, you can't come, but maybe I can ask him to. If you are nice, I can ask you to be
For
my
plus
plus
one.
one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Soli says I love the horn section. Utlala lebo mang on this track or Gutla harmonica, but we're out of time. I'll try and get your ticket to come with me, Soli, to the listening session. Bhek'zizwe, thank you so very much for coming through to spend time with us. With an open heart and an empty stomach.
We have no time for fools who don't know what they're doing. So narrow the red.
Today, more than ever, we've got no time for fools. It's 6 o'clock.
Power News.
The top stories.